All right, editors, moving on. Now let's talk about adding a background to these ladies here. All right, so right now what's happening is the video timeline has 3 different layers, and you can add more. You can add like an infinity amount, I think, but we don't need this many. we don't need more than 3. I don't think. Well, we'll see. But if we need to put a background behind these girls, that means that we need to move these clips to over the video like this. So there's an empty gap between the video and the audio. Now you want to be careful you move these things because you want to make sure they stay aligned. See how a black line appears and you align it? You don't want to actually unalign them. Right? Because then now the video and sound don't work. If you do this by accident, just hit Command Z. There you go. Command Z is a shortcut for undoing. All right, so now let's take a look at our sources here. But wait, where did my sources go? Why am I only seeing the effects? Don't worry. When you look at your 2 arrows here, you will see something called projects and then the name of the project. And then you'll get your sources back. They don't go anywhere. They're just put aside. All right? And for this, I'm going to be looking for a background. Now, that's one thing I didn't put in for you guys. It's a background for these girls. A lot of times, because we put actors on different places, I don't just give them a background. Sometimes the backgrounds don't work because of what they're wearing. It's really, it's a color issue. So this is why you don't see a background. Okay, we didn't bring one in. So I'm going to have you get one. And the best place to go for backgrounds, and we do this for OilerTV quite a lot, you go to the web browser. You're going to look for a website called unsplash.com. Unsplash.com is where we go to get high resolution images with nice backgrounds that we can use for free. The royalty free images, all you gotta do is do the search correctly. And I'm gonna look for soccer field. Here you see an array of different images, different angles of a soccer field. And I'm going to find one. Let me go to the next page on this website. I'm going to find one that I think will work for these 2 girls. And now, notice some of these have plus signs. That means you have to pay for those. And Lord knows I'm not paying for these images. But I am going to find the free one that I think is good. Hey, this one's not too bad. I like this one here. It has the nice hills, like a big open field here. If I click on this little download button, and it's free too. See, I don't have to buy it. Download. Give it a few seconds. It'll end up in the same download folder from earlier. So if you open up the little schizophrenic guy, this little fella here, this will come up. Here you're going to see the sidebar. And again, this ends up in the downloads folder. See, there it is. I'm going to take this file and add it to my folder that's on the desktop. So if I move these aside, and you can close this now too. Now that we have what we want, you can close this. And I'm going to take the picture of this soccer field and add it to my Joe and Maria period 1. Open this up. And I'm going to put this in the soccer trial video. So there it is. Remember, we're trying to keep everything in one place. All right. Okay, so I'm going to take the background, and I'm just going to dump it in here. Don't worry. I know earlier I told you that we need to put things in here, but look, a shortcut to this is if you keep adding files to your timeline and you skip the middleman will still accept your sources. There's the background I just downloaded. All right. So what we need to do is, here are the girls with a black background. So in order for the background to appear behind them, now we just have to slide this in, and you'll see that the girls are now in front of this background. So now what I need to make sure though is, by default these backgrounds only last like a few frames or seconds, so it's not going to be there that long. But what we could do is bring this background to the very end of the cut and use it as part of the whole cut. Okay. Now, one of the things that we like to do when we edit videos, if the background is too clear, and if they are too clear, for some reason they kind of get lost in it a little bit. So one optical effect that we do to just make the audience focus on them is we click on the background and we do some changes to it. Okay. One of the changes I like to make is I'll go to the effects tab. And again, if you don't see that here, you'll find it in here. And you look for something called blur. Blur. Under blur, you're going to see when you type in the word blur, all these blur appear. You see that? All these different blurs. You're going to find something called Gaussian blur. I'm going to take Gaussian blur and I'm going to put it on the background like this. Boom. So now this background has Gaussian blur. Nothing happens to it yet, but we're going to make some changes. Here on the effects control, you'll see that the background now has a Gaussian blur effect that we can change. You'll notice blurriness is set to 0. So I'm going to type in 40. 40 will blur it. 40 or 50, actually. Let's try 50. Just type it in. 50 will blur it enough so that you can still see that it's a nice soccer field back there, but with them not getting lost in it. Okay? And so that's kind of what we do to make them stand out. All right, you see that? All right, so that is how you put a background on this composition here. And if you're able to complete this background portion, you can go ahead and move on to the next part.